Mars Res, a 13-episode drama anime made by Studio Signal MD, which I've never heard before, based on a stage reading play. That alone drew my attention to it, even though stage reading is pretty much one gadget away from an audio drama. Unfortunately, this is pretty much the only knowable thing about the show in general. So the story takes us to interwar Japan, where one old man wishes to create a unit of immoral vampires in order to make sure that young soldiers don't die in pointless shootouts. This gets approved by the government, but then gets undermined every step of the way, so business as usual for the Japanese government. And we follow this experimental vampire squad in its day-to-day life, as vampires start to breed like rabbits, prompting our heroes to not only investigate that, but also to find out about this new chakra blood drug thingy. The B-plot follows this journalist girl doing her own shit in the background. This lasts until the government finally tries to close the project, and the old man instead creates an army of poorly animated 3D vampire soldiers that are being controlled by a British douchebag vampire, because of course they are. And it all ends in a massive earthquake in Tokyo and the vampires running away from Tokyo into some shithole. I would have said the end here, but the ending is so inconclusive that it may not even be the end. So take with that what you will. If I were to describe this anime in one sentence, it would be the little anime that tried. It tries to juggle about 3 to 4 narratives around, and you can kinda see what they're trying to do with them throughout the anime, but they're done so haphazardly you can only really appreciate it after viewing it. Once you stop raging about the time wasted anyways. It starts off with an interrogation of a vampire whose plot importance is hinted at, but only gets explained roughly in the second half of the anime. A lot of the characters are filler at best and obstacles at worst, and then in episode 11 it's as if the show remembered that they're running out of time, and then proceeds to finish things up in the most rushed and anticlimactic way possible. And here's the thing, people. Once you start analyzing the story, it mostly makes sense. For example, the reason why Maeda is delirious in the last episode is the same reason why Misaki was delirious in the beginning of the show. If you actually got that while watching, good for you. Here's a cookie. Otherwise, the last battle and conflict will look as if it appeared out of fucking nowhere. Like, who are these purple-eyed vampires? No idea. Does Defrot have any point in the story other than to be a vampire power dispenser and quote works of British writers every now and again? I don't think so. Why was that girl vampire character necessary? No idea. She just kinda plopped into the screen and then buggered off. But you're probably thinking right now, but Auntie, what about show don't tell, huh? What about show don't tell? Well, what you need to realize, people, is that show don't tell is a narrative technique that only applies to information that's not absolute gibberish. Needless to say, some concrete information would have been nice. The graphics are nice to look at in movement and have a lot of pretty imagery, but aside from the jerky 3D nightmares they use throughout the show, they're pretty damn cheap. Like the occasional lack of lip syncing during dialogue, the vampiric teleportations abilities that are made by the arcane technique of turning off one graphical layer in the editor, and the list goes on. The music also isn't exactly impressive. Most of the notable music is classical, and I don't even think it makes any sort of influence on the story, nor on the viewing experience in general. So overall pretty inoffensive. So basically the premise of the story is this bittersweet vampires are like humans but slightly worse shebang that we've heard like a million times. I can't say I didn't like it as an idea, and admittedly if you turn off your brain while watching it, the show mostly does its job pretty well. It's an anime that is best watched at least 2 times. One time, like the average viewer, and the second watch is to actually understand the plot. The problem is that you can understand the plot even on the first watch if you even slightly think about it for a few minutes, and what you'll understand is that the plot is mostly just pretentious ramblings of a person that uses the word thespian instead of an actor.